Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.
To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Our largest single-theme land expansion ever.
Now we want you to share with us our latest and greatest dream.
Matterhorn Matt presents Matterhorn Mondays.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 118 of Matterhorn Mondays, coming to you live from the Outpost. I am your host, Matterhorn Matt.
And I'm Alex, the historian.
And today, we don't have any special guests this week, you guys. It's just Alex and I this episode. So yeah, if you were expecting Jeremy back, Jeremy's in Disneyland, I believe, at the moment. So he sadly could not join us on this lovely episode of Matterhorn Mondays. But yeah, I guess there's no anything to add to that. So we'll just continue on as normal then. Yeah, we got a great stream planned for you guys, and as you all know, links to everything, Discord, Twitters, all that junk, you guys, will be in the description below. And if you'd like to be wished a happy birthday live on the stream, you can do so by following the link in the description as well. Submit your name, your birthday in the Google Doc, and we'll add it to our special Matterhorn Mondays calendar that we have here, you guys. It's a very special calendar. I guess it's not special this week because we don't have any birthdays this week. Yeah, this week is completely bare, you guys. So if for some reason you didn't leave your birthday and your birthday is this week, happy birthday to you. But yeah, you guys, this is the last, guys, it's going to be a whole year since we see you guys again, since we get to talk to you guys again. I'm going to be so sad. We're going to have to wait. It's going to be another year till we see you, because it's the last Matterhorn Monday stream of the decade.
Oh, that's right.
Where's my cheering and clapping? Yeah! That was kind of late, but anyways, happy New Year to all of you guys watching. I hope you guys have a fantastic week, fantastic New Year. Also a safe New Year. Don't drink and drive, you guys. You can drink and scooter. Well, I guess that's probably maybe equally as dangerous as driving, but yeah, be safe this New Year, you guys. Don't overdose on any alcoholic concoctions that you may consume. I'm going to be drinking water this New Year's. But yeah. So, Alex, do you have any announcements you'd like to make before the episode starts?
Like, what kind of announcements?
I don't know. I don't know. Do you have any announcements that you want to make?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Should I?
No announcements. I don't think so. I don't know. I was just... Okay, anyways, my parents are screaming. The Cardinals are playing. I think they were tied last I checked, so hopefully they win during the episode. But yeah, if you guys would like to voice your opinion on any of the topics we have at hand, you can leave a voicemail by calling the number 575-386-5814. We'll be listening to your voicemails throughout the episode. And before we start, we do have one voicemail. Let's see. Here we go. We have one voicemail from unknown. I don't know who left this voicemail. No name attached. So let's go ahead and listen to this real quick.
I'm just calling in so my email doesn't get hacked. LMAO.
Just calling so we don't hack his email, you guys. As stated last week by Jeremy, it's necessary now to call in and leave a voicemail. If you don't, there will be repercussions. Yeah, so make sure you guys go to sleep with one eye open tonight if you don't leave a voicemail. Anyways, yeah, guys, Happy New Year. Let's go ahead and start off this episode right by doing some Matt Snaps, and I'm not going to forget to play the Matt Snaps theme this week, you guys. It's Matt Snaps.
Waits underneath the cab. It's once again time this week for Matterhorn Matt Snaps.
Matt Snaps, that's one of my favorite jingles that we have here on the show, you guys. So I'm going to do it right this time, you guys. Let's pop this bad puppy open, and we'll hear the pop. This time, I swear. It was kind of more of a thud than a pop, but Anyways, oh no, that's not what I wanted to push. Oh, that's awkward. Anyways, let's go ahead and pour this in here, and then we'll get into this week's news from the Peak.
We now present to you news from the Peak.
For our first bit, this isn't really news per se, but I figured it'd be important for those of you guys who are visiting the parks in the coming week. Disneyland reached capacity, you guys, on December 27th. What day was that? That was Thursday. Friday. That was Friday, actually. Yeah, Friday. Disneyland reached capacity. There's this tweet sent out by the Disneyland Annual Pass Twitter. We have temporarily stopped selling tickets to Disneyland Park, but annual passports valid on this day are still good for admission at this time. As of 11:40 a.m., Disney California Adventure Park tickets remain available. Updates to follow. So if you guys thought it wouldn't be that busy this New Year's Christmas season, you guys thought wrong. This isn't even Christmas Day. This is like 2 days after Christmas, and Disney stopped letting people into Disneyland. So, Alex, I guess this isn't really nothing new, but what are your thoughts here on Disneyland reaching capacity here on December 27th?
Well, it's like you said, it's not very a new thing, but around, oh god, sorry. Always the worst timing. Okay, so usually around this time of year, they reach capacity on the last few days leading up to New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. And so it makes a lot of people really angry because people go all the way out of their way to get to the resort, and then they find out that they can't get inside. But for those people who've always wanted to come to Disneyland for this time of year, the 27th through the 31st and even January 1st, my best advice to give you is don't come to Disneyland. Just don't. But I mean, if you absolutely have to, and I mean absolutely have to, I would show up as early as possible and come with the mindset that this is going to be the busiest you've ever seen it. The lines are going to be the longest you've ever seen it. And you're probably not going to be able to ride anything, probably. So that's the best advice I can give people for that. But yeah, mostly just don't come during the 27th through the 31st.
Yeah, I guess another tip, if you do happen to end up getting into the park on any day this upcoming week, don't leave Disneyland, because you're not guaranteed re-entry, I believe. If you leave and then when you're gone, if the park hits capacity, you're not guaranteed re-entry. So you might be stuck outside while your family is inside. Maybe you forgot something in the car. Tips and tricks, you guys, on the Matterhorn Mondays show. Someone asked, how often does Disneyland reach capacity? He's never heard of this before. Justin asks.
So Disneyland really only reaches capacity exactly this time of year. We're at right now. This is usually the only time they ever hit capacity, unless they open a really major attraction. Like we thought that opening of Galaxy's Edge would cause the park to hit capacity. It didn't, but it was fair enough to say that it might. Yes. So the park's capacity was 82,000, and I believe with Galaxy's Edge it is now 88,000. So I think it added an extra 6,000 people in capacity. So so I think 88,000 people is now the new capacity of Disneyland. And over across the way, Disney California Adventure has a capacity of 66,000. So yeah, I think that answers the question, I think.
Yeah, and I feel like if you do, for some reason, if you're not able to get into Disneyland, I feel like California Adventure isn't such a bad second option. There's a lot of great food in California Adventure. Alex's really, his face, you guys missed it, like disgust on his face. There's a lot of great food in California Adventure. You can ride, what can you ride? Oh, you can ride The Little Mermaid. That's a great ride. Always a classic. You can ride, anyways, I can't think of another worthy attraction in California Adventure. But for our second bit of news from the Peak, This is breaking. Well, I guess not really anymore. Disney buys 230 acres of land west of the Magic Kingdom in Florida. Now, this was bought by Disney's Compass Rose Corporation, and they bought the land for $6 million, you guys. And links to all the articles we refer to will be in the description down below if you'd like to have more information. I guess it's worth noting that the land is most likely not going to be used for another theme park, because I believe Blog Mickey states that the land... Oh, well, that's like a horrible placement of the picture. The overlay of the news is like right in front of the area in focus of the picture, so sorry. But, well, I can switch it to Alex's webcam, and then it'll be perfect there. Or I guess my webcam, too. Most likely not to be used for another theme park. Possibly to expand the already existing solar farm that they have near the area. Blog Mickey also stated that it's just possible that they bought the land just so no other corporation, I believe, ends up buying the land. So maybe in the future, if they end up buying more land surrounding it, they can build a new theme park. But yeah, as of now, do not expect a fifth gate to be built where this land is bought. Alex, what are your thoughts here on this $6 million acquisition of 230 acres of land?
Yeah, it seems to me that that area is the closest you can get to Magic Kingdom in terms of like if you're like a company that wants to build something there. So I think that it's possible Disney just wanted to purchase that before anyone else did, so that way it doesn't, they don't build anything large there that can be seen from Magic Kingdom or disturb operations at Magic Kingdom. That's what it seems to me. But I will put my vote in the hat or not vote, but
prediction.
I will say there's always a possibility that they could build something else there. Maybe not a third gate because it's too small, but something else there. I mean, look where it is. It's right on the edge of Reedy Creek, and Reedy Creek is like a major waterway for operations in the resort. So maybe they'll be building some kind of infrastructure there.
Maybe a space station, the Disneyland Resort, or the Walt Disney World Resort International Launch Station for the spaceships to launch from. It's possible, you guys.
Wow.
T-Will says the land purchase seems to be because of a new development coming too close to the Magic Kingdom for Disney's liking, or maybe to expand their solar farm nearby. Avery said he sent in a voicemail that tells us more about the land. So let's go ahead and give this voicemail a listen from Avery, you guys.
So in terms of buying the land in Magic Kingdom, I'm not surprised. So if they always do that, they always put land aside. They buy land and put it aside for the environment. Whenever they want to develop land of about the same size. So basically, it looks like in this case, the plot of land has a lake. So it looks like it's going to be set aside for the environment, which means one thing, somewhere on property, it could be several things could happen. It could be more resorts, or it could be a fifth gate, or it could be a Target. It could be a Target.
Oh my gosh, it could be a Target.
But this, hopefully, it'll be a 50. Maybe Chapstick will get his way, and the Target will be there instead. I'm hoping for 50. Maybe a Villains Park. Maybe Disney Sea. That would be nice.
Yeah, just a big, like crop field cut out to the shape of a Target. He means that like a store, department store Target, but I was making a joke, you guys. Anyways, so yeah, if you guys have any theories on what this land could be used for besides what we already said, leave a comment down below, type in chat. That's always fun to speculate. And for our final bit here of news from the peak, I guess this isn't really news per se, because this is what we expected to happen. Disneyland is set to use the virtual queue for Rise of the Resistance. Just like in Florida, it's news, you guys. That means it's worthy of a 5-page news article from the OC Register. Ahaha, jab jab at the OC Register. Just like Florida, Disneyland will be using the quote-unquote boarding groups. I don't think that's what they're called. It's called boarding something landing group. Someone will correct me, but it could be boarding group, to gain access to the ride. Although Disneyland officials do say that the virtual queue may work differently than the counterpart in Florida, so we've yet to see what that means. Yeah, we'll probably get more information on that when the time boarding group. Oh, that's what I said. Boarding group. He said boarding group too. Yeah, I guess we'll get more information as when does it open? Yeah, as it develops, closer to the 17th of January when the ride opens. Alex, for our last bit of news from the peak, what are your thoughts here of using the boarding groups to get on Rise of the Resistance? Again, not really breaking news, but Alex.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, I think anything to help prevent people from waiting too long for this attraction would give people a better experience. I mean, because in the past, what Disney mostly cared about was giving guests a good experience in terms of building new attractions and stuff that really appeal to them. But now their focus is not just that, but also, does waiting in a really long line ruin the experience of a perfectly good attraction? And so I think it's a good thing that they're using these boarding groups to prevent people from waiting too long in a brand new ride and give them a bad experience.
Yeah, very good point. I guess in future we can address, sort of the elephant in the room. Are boarding groups a better experience, or a better way to get onto an attraction than fast passes? I don't really know if the two compare, but maybe in a future episode we can address that once we've actually had the chance to experience these boarding groups in person, because I've yet to actually figure out, how they work, just from the secondhand accounts I've seen on Twitter and stuff. But anyways, that does it for this week's news from the peak, and there is no Alex in the parks this week, you guys, sadly.
Well, because I knew that the parks, this time of year is the busiest time to be at Disneyland, so I didn't go because it's impossible. I'm not gonna take a bus all the way up there and an hour and 15 minutes and then wait in a line equally as long as that. So I didn't go this past week, and I'm not going this coming week.
Tut tut, it looks like rain. Tut tut. I don't know why I said that. Anyways, you guys.
Tisk.
Anyways, we don't have any Alex in the parks this week, but we do have some images here from, I believe it's at Haston. Guy Selga on Twitter. Lovely person.
Yes.
Of the this is something Alex addressed, I believe, last week in the episode, but there were no available images of it. These are the new panels, or refurbished panels that they installed at the entrance of Tomorrowland. And as you can see, just as Alex described it, you guys, sort of a reflective rainbow-ish color to it, silver color. Really beautiful looking. So hopefully these panels stick around in some form or another in the future Tomorrowland refurbs, because they are very beautiful. Alex, I'm assuming you don't have anything else to say about this since we talked about it last week, but
nothing new to say, no. But I mean, it's just like I was saying, they look like a dark gray, but then when you walk up to them, they kind of have this rainbow sheen to them.
Mm-hmm.
And they were originally designed by John Hench for the 1967 Tomorrowland.
Good old Johnny Hench, everybody's favorite Imagineer. Shout out to Guy Selga. I could be pronouncing his name wrong on Twitter. And for our first bit, let's give a rundown of our main topics today, you guys. Going to be a shorter episode. Not sure if I said that at the top of the episode. Not really a lot of news per se to talk about this week, but there was some new information about the Avengers Campus opening details that we're going to be discussing, as well as we're going to give a rundown of some of the refurbishments happening in 2020, just the ones that are announced so far. And then for our final topic, we're going to be doing a decade in review of the Walt Disney Company. I guess more specifically, the parks division of the Walt Disney Company, but, the Walt Disney Company as a whole as well, because we do have some things to throw in there to talk about. But for our first topic here, new Avengers Campus details, you guys. It's not really an opening date that was announced. They did reveal that the new land would open in summer of 2020 in California Adventure. I'm not really sure if that goes in line with everyone's predictions. I think they did, but I think summer of 2020 could mean like from May to September, I think is when the summer season happens, or September. I don't know. I don't know the seasons, but let's see. There's a quote here. Quote, Avengers Campus is home to the Worldwide Engineering Brigade, also known as WEB. You guys get it? That's a Spider-Man pun. Which will house our new Spider-Man Experience, the first Disney ride-through attraction to feature this iconic superhero. Now, like I said, there were really no other new details revealed about the land itself, just that it would open in 2020. I guess that was worthy of a Parks blog piece, but there were these pieces of concept art that have been posted already before, and I guess it is worth noting as well. Disney is still yet to post that piece of concept art that WDW News Today supposedly leaked. Do you guys remember that piece of concept art that they leaked? I have it here actually. That lovely
the one that we all thought was like fake.
Yes, that one.
Oh.
I have it here. If it'll open without the watermark too. I took out their watermark. You guys remember this piece of concept art? It's still a question of whether or not it's fake or not. I guess we'll see when the ride opens. But now I would like to point out here. Again, this is really not news. No big news is here, but I was taking a look here at these pieces of concept art for the Spider-Man attraction. And I guess my one big question here is this scene right here. Is that Spider-Man going to be an animatronic, or is it going to be a screen, you guys? Alex, what do you think?
What
animatronic?
Scene?
This one right here that I'm showing with the Spider-Man.
Hold on. I gotta go to the thing. Okay, so the one of him standing behind the bar?
Yeah, looking around.
Making
at the bar, yeah.
Gosh, that's probably going to be an animatronic, honestly.
You think so?
Yeah, because usually when you're that close to a screen, you can tell it's a screen. So when you're like that close to something, they make it an animatronic. If you're like a good distance away, then they'll make it. But wait, does that room have more depth than it looks like it does? It's hard to tell.
It looks like they're maybe 5 feet from the actual Spider-Man desk, and Spider-Man himself up 5 feet back.
Yeah, I would say that's probably going to be an animatronic, most likely. You're too close. That's like if in Buzz Lightyear Astro Blasters in the queue, that's if they made Buzz like a screen, and it's like you're just too close to it. It's a screen, so they would do an animatronic in that scene.
Reverend Puck says, have it as a real person in a costume, vary the person in the costume, let people experience varying shapes of Spider-Man. Wouldn't that be something? Would that be like the first instance of Disney having live actors in a dark ride like this?
And just for diversity's sake, they could have like a really big fat guy. Just behind the counter.
They call him Biggie Man. That was a lame joke.
That's not family friendly.
George asks if we have a podcast. George, we do have a podcast, and you're on it right now. Thank you for tuning in. T-Will says this project has the imagination of a Slinky. I don't know. I guess we can use this as sort of a segue to discuss Marvel Land as a whole, because we've talked about it in the past, not very in depth, I guess. But I would like to talk about Marvel Land. My friend's calling me right now on my phone. I'm ignoring that. He's probably watching. I'm sorry if you're watching. Now, Alex, I would like you to explain to me if this Marvel Land is supposed to be a superhero campus. Why is the Collector's Fortress from outer space there? How does that make thematic sense?
Well, it's, as the little squirrel would say, it's thematically inconsistent.
the squirrel. That's a funny one. I guess.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of hope for Marvel Land, really. A lot of warehouses, I feel like, is what the attractions are going to be set in. Plus,
well, that's the thing about it is it's like, it's one of those things that oh, hold on just a second. Yeah, he can climb the stairs now. I'm telling my roommate that her puppy can climb the stairs now, so he's like all the way up there looking at her. Let's see. So the Marvel Campus, the thing about it is it's like back when they announced this thing, I was kind of like, what would a Marvel themed land look like? And the only thing I could think of is a city, honestly. I mean, that's where most of them always are, is some kind of city or town or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it only makes sense. But I mean, at the same time, it's kind of like, I don't know. The thing about Disney parks is they transport you somewhere usually scenic and beautiful. Granted, not always. I guess you can make that argument. Main Street isn't necessarily like a natural area. It's a man-made area, but it's really beautiful looking.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And then of course, like you said, with the collector's fortress in the background, it just doesn't make sense. And if I may go on a short rant here, I just am angry that sightlines are no longer a thing in terms of parks like DCA. I mean, I guess they never were, right? I mean, when DCA opened, they didn't care about sightlines at all.
Yeah, I think they even touched on that in the Imagineering story briefly.
Yeah, and now that they're continuing to develop it, it was weird because there was a time in 2012 that they were caring about sightlines a bit more. When they built Buena Vista Street, their goal was to block views of the rest of the park from Buena Vista Street by putting Carthay Circle in the center. And then, of course, Carthay Circle Theater being at the center kind of Buena Vista Street, it was also like this big iconic area. So it was kind of like they were starting to go that direction of let's care about sightlines. And now it's just, oh, well, if we cared about sightlines, we'd have to redo the whole park, which I get. But I mean, you should redo the whole park.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yes. And they tried to fix sightlines with Cars Land, says Justin. Yeah, that's totally true. They started caring about sightlines, and then, come Marvel Land, they're like, well, who really cares? Anyway, so it's like I say to people, I don't plan on going to Marvel Land. I don't really like the Marvel movies anyway, so I'm probably not going to step foot in there. Just the same way I'm not stepping foot in a theater to see Rise of Skywalker.
Hey, we haven't talked about Rise of Skywalker all episode, you guys. I saw it and it was horrible. Let's just leave it at that. No further discussion on Star Wars ever again on this channel. Okay.
My dad got so mad at me on Christmas Day because he was like, have you seen Rise of Skywalker? I'm like, Dad, I'm not going to go see that. And he's like, what are you talking about? It's a good movie. I love that movie. It's the best movie that they've made. I'm like, Dad, no. Anyway, sorry. But yes.
Well, Bob Iger, if you're watching, I'd like to propose something to you about a future Marvel Land. It doesn't have to be in DCA. Maybe if this Marvel Land happens to fail, you can bulldoze it, build this new version that I'm going to pitch to you. It's like Galaxy's Edge, only it's Wakanda. Wouldn't you guys like to visit Wakanda? I feel like it has that same sort of immersive experience that Disney did with Galaxy's Edge, except you can tie it all together with Marvel and Black Panther. I think Black Panther made like $2 billion at the movie theater, so it's a home run, you guys. Why didn't Disney think of building a Galaxy's Edge style version of Wakanda? I guess there really isn't enough space to do that in DCA, but then again, you can bulldoze the entirety of Hollywood Land and just have Wakanda there. Hollywoodland is useless to begin with. Why not replace it with something that would be more visually pleasing, that would be more aesthetically pleasing? Is that a phrase? I don't know. Anyways, I guess that wraps up this discussion of Marvel Land. Marvel Land is set to open. Did I even say that they announced the release? I think I did. Summer of 2020 is when this is set to open, you guys. A California park featuring a fictional African country, I guess. But I guess...
I mean, it's a California park featuring a fictional place in Arizona. So, I mean...
Oh, dab on the haters. Oh! I mean, that's another good point, too. I guess but the Marvel campus is supposed to be in California, I guess. Whatever. I've given up trying, you guys, with this. But summer of 2020 is when Avengers Campus is supposed to be opened. Can't call it Marvel Land just yet, no. Avengers Campus. Moving on to our second topic of the day. Oh, look at these lovely pieces of concept art, you guys. Second topic of the day. Let's go ahead and give a little rundown here of some of the refurbishment schedules that have been revealed for Disneyland, including Snow White's Scary Adventures. Now, I believe we touched on this a few episodes ago. Snow White's Scary Adventures is set to close January 7th, and I believe Blog Mickey stated that the opening date is set for May 22nd. So, 4 months, a whole 4 months of refurbishment for Snow White's Scary Adventures. Now, in case you forgot, the refurb includes removal and replacement of prop sets and scenes, as well as installation of new structural beams and new projector platforms for the new projection add-ons that they're going to be adding to the attraction. A whole 4 months. I believe this concept art that we're showing you here is supposed to be concept art for the brand new ending scene that they're going to be adding to the attraction, because the ride really didn't have an ending to begin with. It just sort of ended with the old hag getting struck by lightning, and then that's it, really.
That's the funny thing was, like, me and Chris had a conversation about this because we were talking about, like, because a lot of people don't understand, like, the way the ride was designed in 83. Like, they were like, wait, I don't get this. It suddenly ends with the death of the witch. Like, it has nothing to do with the story of Snow White from beginning to end. And that's true, because as the ride's name says, it's Snow White's Scary Adventures. You're going specifically through the scary parts of the story. I don't know why they decided, like, hey, let's only make a ride about the scary parts of the movie. But they did. They were like, let's just do that. But yeah, it's not Snow White's story. It's Snow White's Scary Adventures. So the parts of the movie that are scary, and it finished the scary parts of the movie finish with the death of the witch, the queen. But anyway, I do agree that it is weird to make a ride solely on that part of those parts of the movie. But yes, so something I wanted to mention, because another thing that people are always wondering is they're looking at this scene with the prince waking up Snow White, and they're like, where is that going to be put? Well, the last two scenes of the current ride, you leave the scary forest with the trees, and when you see the witch opens the door to not a witch, well, they call her the old hag. I hate to use that word, but yeah. Anyway, she opens the door to the dwarf's house, and she says, have a nice juicy apple. And you see this, like, holographic apple. That scene is going to be replaced with this, where you see the prince waking up Snow White, and then as you round the curve to what has been the scene of the dwarfs chasing the old hag up the mountain, that will become the finale scene where Snow White and the prince go away to his castle. So that's where those two scenes are going to go. And me and Chris talked about it, and I was estimating that they'd probably also have to kind of move around some of the other scenes in the ride. Maybe not replace them, but shorten them such as like the scene where after you see the old hag dip the apple in poison, you round a corner and then you see her on her boat and she goes out and says, "Have a nice apple," or whatever. And then you go see the forest. Well, I think those 3 scenes are going to be condensed in order to make this make more sense and make it less scary. They're probably gonna like completely remove that little scene with the hag on the boat. They're
That's
probably
my
just gonna
favorite part,
take
though.
It's kind of weird because you can easily turn your head around and you can see the hag behind you.
Yeah.
In front of the brewing pot. So it's like, I don't know. It's just kind of always kind of weird that they were that close together. You can see her literally if you turn around. But anyway, as far as I know, though, there's been no talk about altering the scene where she goes from the evil queen to the old hags, because I love that scene.
Yeah,
like it's a really cool illusion. But
yeah, so I believe we touched as well in the previous episodes, we mentioned this, that they were going to be removing, I think we said that they were going to be removing the majority of the spooky scenes in the ride to make it more family friendly, because you don't go on the Disneyland ride to poop your pants, you guys. I mean, unless you intentionally do, but...
Or unless you're Matt.
Unless you're me, you guys. But most of the population who visits Disneyland isn't me, so I feel like they wouldn't want to poop their pants on a Snow White ride. But anyways, we will keep you guys updated on this refurbishment for Snow White's Scary Adventures. Now let's touch on some of the other refurbishments happening around the resort. Besides this, Mark Twain is closing January 7th. These ones have no... I guess no official return dates posted by Disney except for Snow White, I believe. Hyperspace Mountain we touched on as well, closing January 7th. It's a Small World closing the 7th as well to remove the holiday overlay. Haunted Mansion Holiday closing January 21st, as well as Grizzly River Run on the 21st. As well, on the same day, King Arthur Carousel closing January 21st for a refurbishment. And here's an interesting one. The Red Car Trolley is going to be closed through December of 2020. That's a whole... How long has it been? It's been closed for the majority of this year of 2019, I believe, and it's going to stay closed till the end of next year. So, and there was the rumor a few months ago of Disney possibly rerouting the trolley to turn left at the Hyperion Theater instead of right, because that would be thematically inconsistent if you see a 1920s style red car trolley in Marvel Land. So, I mean, it'd make more sense to turn left into Hollywood Land, but...
That's true, but from what I hear, like, they didn't want to invest any more money in the red car trolley attraction. So the idea was just build the new Marvel campus around it and allow it to still go through that area.
Mm-hmm.
And then plus, I'm starting to wonder now, after hearing that it's going to be closed through December, is something going to be done about the north side of Hollywood Land? You know, the part where, you know, Monsters, Inc. and all that is, because, you know, they recently moved the entrance to Mickey's PhilharMagic.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and that area is becoming more and more neglected. So I can't help but wonder, is there something that's going to prohibit them from reopening the trolley this year, like more construction?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, because Marvel Campus is supposed to open in summer or something, right?
Summer 20, next year.
Yeah, see, something's up.
You know,
is really up.
This is one of the great parts about speculating on these refurbishment dates, because you look at something like the red car trolley being closed the majority of 2019 and seeing it's going to be closed into December of 2020 next year. You could really take that and apply it to whatever theory you have of, are they going to remove Hollywood Land? Are they going to revamp Hollywood Land and make it into something else? You can apply that to whatever I guess, a conspiracy theory you want in regards to Hollywoodland, because you know everything is connected when it comes to this kind of stuff. You can't. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You guys understand, I'm sure, the concept of what I'm trying to say. But anyways, yeah, the red car trolley being closed. I'm sorry, you guys. The Cardinals have a minute left. The red car trolley is closed through December of 2020. We will for sure keep you guys updated on that, because I did miss riding the red car trolley. It's I'm sure it's an overlooked part.
I never rode it.
Oh, really? You've never ridden the red car trolley?
Yeah, and I'm a rail fan too, which is what makes it so surprising for my friends, because they're like, Alex, so you love trains and trolleys and stuff. You haven't rode red car trolley. And it's like, I never had a chance to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ever since it opened, it had like really long wait times. And then now that it doesn't, well, in more recent years that it hasn't had long wait times, I've just never had the chance to. It's either closed, or every time I walk in the park, they're doing a show, so it's closed or something. So it's like I never have the chance to ride it.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't been on it.
It's really not that great. I'm gonna be honest here. It's saying, even though I just said I love doing it, I think I've only ridden it once actually.
It looks weird. I can't even, as a rail fan myself, I can't even say that it's like any bit of an authentic experience. It looks weird. It looks like you're riding this big, like, I don't know, electric toy.
Oh yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Yeah. Excuse me. Someone said in chat, has Disney ever moved an attraction besides the Lion King show at the Animal Kingdom? Let's see, Chris with a K, our very own Chris with a K, said Dumbo, It's a Small World, and Teacups. Yeah, they moved Dumbo during the refurbishment in the 90s, I believe, as well as the Teacups. I guess Chris is referring to moving It's a Small World from the World's Fair to... No, did they ever move It's a Small World in Disneyland?
In Disneyland, no. In Walt Disney World, I think so. So, I don't know.
That might be what he's...
a Small World.
Yeah, because I don't know of any movements of... I mean, the land, it doesn't have legs to begin with, so it can't really move anywhere.
Yeah, he probably means from the World's Fair to Disneyland.
No, you guys, that was a joke. You guys are supposed to laugh at that.
They've also moved Carousel of Progress from Disneyland to Walt Disney World.
Oh, yeah, that's 4 so far that we've counted. If you guys have any more, comment down... Oh, the Cardinals lost. Oh, well. Comment down below, type in chat. I'm depressed now, you guys. Just kidding, it's okay. They moved It's a Small World from the World's Fair. Yeah, that's what he meant. So, someone said that they're surprised at the amount of love Monsters, Inc. is getting, I think.
I know. I really don't like... I want to like that ride.
Yeah.
I really do, because I love the movie so much. But that ride is so, like... I don't know. I can't enjoy myself. It's just... It's so lifeless.
It's ugly looking, too. It is lifeless. That's a good way of putting it. Justin said they moved King Arthur Carousel as well. That's 5. High five. That's 5 attractions that we know that they've moved. I'm sure there's more. Can't think of any off the top of my head, but anyways, that does it for this refurbishment roundup. Oh, that's a good title for a segment, refurbishment roundup.
You can have a picture of like Woody with his lasso, and like something representing refurbishments, and then he's like lassoing it back,
or a chainsaw, a jackhammer. That's better.
Keep working on it.
Well, it's a great idea for a segment, you guys. Refurbishment roundup. I'm gonna forget right once this episode ends, but I'll try not to. Future segment upcoming in 2020. Yeah, leave your guys' theories on why the red car trolley could be closed through December of 2020, because I'm sure you guys, this could support any number of theories. It could support the red car trolley going away forever. It could support DCA being demolished at the end of December 2020. We don't know. Oh, yeah, Indiana Jones is closing next year, too, isn't it, for refurbishment? That wasn't on the list that I found.
Yeah. Yeah, it is closing for refurbishment. God. What? Oh, my God. The dog just, like, ripped the headphones off my head.
That was amazing. It's like a ghost. I thought like a ghost, like, whacked you in the back of the head and knocked the headphones off.
No. Oh God.
Oh my gosh. Well, anyways, that does it for the second topic of the day, and we'll get into our final topic after we take a quick break for our sponsors. If you guys are wondering where you can find even more family-friendly live streams just like this one, head on over to theliveplace.com. The Live Place is your headquarters for great family-friendly live streams. They cover anything from Disney to other vacation spots, various variety shows, and have some amazing streamers like Resort TV 1 and myself. Also, be sure to check out puckermint.com, where you can find amazing pins and stickers. Puckermint is based out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, just a few hours from where I live. And since I'm a big believer in supporting local artists, we decided to partner up. Be sure to use the coupon code down below when you make your next order. Again, that's puckermint.com and puckermint on Instagram. And puckermint on Instagram. I was doing that, you guys. I was lip syncing to myself while you saw that. That was all me. Just kidding. Voicemail time, you guys. We have a voicemail from Avery again about Marvel and Avengers Campus. So let's give this a yippee-ki-yay listen to.
I was going to say a yeehaw.
Yeehaw.
I think in terms of Marvel Land or Avengers Campus, like it won't be like Galaxy's Edge Batu or Pandora immersive, but it's just what DCA needs to be revived, like to be fully revived. The Spider-Man ride, it doesn't look exciting. I think in terms of Spider-Man rides between the West Coast and the East Coast, Spider-Man at Islands of Adventure and Universal is definitely better. So I think in this case, Universal won the Spider-Man game, but I think the land is perfect for DCA. Goes along with Mission Breakout, so. Yeah, it's definitely way better. And there's maybe a controversial take, but I think it's way better than what was there before. Sorry, Heimlich. But
Heimlich does not forgive you.
That's my take.
After his home was uprooted, I was laughing because it transcribed it here, Ireland of Adventure and Universal instead of Islands of Adventure, and that's what I was laughing at. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, sure, Matt. Laugh at Ireland.
Oh, Ireland's not a real country, you guys. It's all a myth. In case you didn't know that. Superstar or Tony Mack says, is Phase 1 Avengers opening in 2020? Yes. I should have clarified. Phase 1 of Avengers Campus is opening in 2020, while Phase 2, I believe Phase 2 is supposed to be the big e-ticket experience, not a roller coaster, because it was confirmed to not be a roller coaster.
Really?
Yeah, not a roller coaster. I think it was supposed to be like a simulator type thingamabob. I don't remember. But that's opening, I believe, in 2021 or 2022. Between those 2 years is when Phase 2 with the Avengers e-ticket is opening. So yeah, it's going to be just like Galaxy's Edge. Again, the D-ticket attraction is opening with the land while we have to wait another year and a half for the actual big attraction to open. So we'll see if that works out a second time in a row. But for our final topic of the day, you guys, in case you didn't know, this week marks the end of the 2010s, and we're approaching the 2020s, you guys, which means it's time for Alex and I to do a decade in review for the Walt Disney Company. We're going to be looking back at all the big sort of things, I guess, that happened to the company that were sort of milestones. Making note of the big things that happened.
This decade is going to be like huge. Like, like my dad celebrates his 50th birthday next year. And he wants me and my sister to throw him a 1920s themed party, because we're going back into the 20s now. So it's, and I'm expected to spend a lot of money. So
Or you could just do an 1820s party instead of the 1920s. You'd get to spend less money.
Nobody wants an 1820s party.
You just have to buy a bunch of rats and infect them with the plague, and that'd be the party.
The 1620s could be pretty fun.
Isn't that when
We could have
America was
beheadings.
discovered? Oh! Well, no, that's the 1400s, not the 60s. Anyways. A decade in review, you guys, of the Walt Disney Company. Yeah, we're going to be listing down some of the major milestones that happened to the Walt Disney Company. I guess more specifically, the parks, Disneyland, Walt Disney World, all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be touching on some of the, I guess, overall general things that happened to the Walt Disney Company. Talk about the impact that they had on the company and in the future as well. For the first noteworthy thing that the Walt Disney Company I have here is Disney buying Lucasfilm in 2012. That was a big milestone to mark for the Walt Disney Company, you guys. I believe since Disney bought Lucasfilm, I think every film of the quote-unquote Skywalker saga grossed over $1 billion or over $2 billion. I'm going to say over $1 billion at the box office. So Disney really has been seeing their return on investment, I believe. I'm not 100% sure how much they bought Lucasfilm for. I think it was $12 billion they bought Lucasfilm for.
$4 billion.
4. Okay, I was way off. Well, yeah, I'm sure they've already seen their return on investment then. Not just counting the Skywalker, the 3 films in the main series that they've released. Solo made a decent amount of money. Rogue One did as well as The Mandalorian is from a fiscal perspective, yeah, Chris says the best deal ever made from a fiscal perspective. Not necessarily from a creative perspective, because, as you all know, I'm not a big fan of the new Disney Star Wars things that they've been putting out besides The Mandalorian. But, Alex, how would you say Disney buying Lucasfilm has impacted them? All right, Disney buying Lucasfilm in 2012 has impacted the company thus far.
I mean, besides the movie Rogue One, I don't really like any of the new Star Wars themed stuff. Not even The Mandalorian. I liked The Mandalorian first, and then I after a few episodes, I was just kind of like, okay, I really don't like this anymore.
I guess better. The last season finale they put out was the best episode so far. Just throwing that out there.
I'll probably watch it just to see if you're right, but I think you're wrong. Anyway, and then, but I mean, so in my personal opinion, creative-wise, I think that they didn't do anything better creative-wise. I mean, they didn't. I mean, you can't say ruined, because I mean, this original trilogy still exists, so at least I can still watch it. They haven't ruined anything for me, but I just don't think what they did was good. But I will say this: it has generated a lot of revenue for Lucasfilm. It has catapulted the Star Wars fandom and mania into a whole new thing, a whole new world, a whole new, just thing. I mean, there's a different kind of set of Star Wars fans now. And of course, it's been financially successful for them. I'd be lying if I said that it wasn't financially successful. I mean, it is. So, I mean, they're, in terms of money, they're doing something right. But,
Well, I guess it's worth noting, and we're going to be touching on this later on in our list. Disney buying Lucasfilm directly influenced the creation of Galaxy's Edge as well. The inception, I guess you could say, of Galaxy's Edge, which we're going to be touching on later in our list. And I'd like to point out, I just got a notification, you guys. My college basketball team beat the person they were playing 104-30. So that's pretty cool. 104 points to 30 points. That's pretty cool. But anyways, for the second thing I have on my list here, a decade in review for Disney. This pertains more to the parks. The rededication of Disney California Adventure in 2012. I guess I can sort of correlate to, or I guess go hand in hand with Cars Land opening in 2012 as well. Alex, how would you say Cars Land has impacted the parks division as a whole? This wasn't the first quote-unquote immersive land that they've built themed after one IP, was it? I think it might have been. I'm not 100% sure.
It was the first. I can't speak for Walt Disney World. I gotta be honest, because I'm not. I don't know that much.
Well, for Disneyland then.
But for Disneyland Resort, it was the very first fully immersive IP land. But I mean, if you want to talk about the first IP land ever built for Disneyland Resort, would be Toontown. So Toontown opened in 1993, and that was the first single IP themed land. There's complete silence from you, so I think there's something you want to say.
Well, I guess I'd count Toontown as an immersive land, wouldn't you?
I don't think it's all that immersive. I mean, it's plastic.
Well,
there's no texture to it. Like every object in Toontown has the same exact texture. That really bothers me.
It bothers me too. Gosh, I could talk about how much I hate Toontown for hours on end. But anyways, we're talking about the rededication of DCA, and so Chris pointed out it wasn't just Cars Land. Grizzly Peak Airfield and its surrounding area theming, that whole area around the Grizzly River Run is amazing. It's my favorite area in the park, I think, by far. That little, the walkway from Soarin' to Paradise Gardens, I think is the name of the land. Yeah, that whole Redwood area is my favorite. Props to Disney for making that area look so beautiful. And then I guess it's also worth noting that they've sort of gone back on whatever theming standard they set in DCA in 2012 by adding Pixar Pier. Was that in 2018 Pixar Pier opened? It feels like it was just yesterday we were all hating on Pixar Pier.
Pixar Pier opened in 2018.
Interesting.
I sent you a whole list. Are you not like looking at the like? I had like a year by year list of everything that's happened, and Matt started from 2012. So I'm like, what is going on?
Wait a minute. Did you? I saw them.
I did.
2010.
It's right here.
2010, 55th anniversary, an edition of World of Color. Well, I figured adding the anniversary of the park would be kind of redundant, I guess, because the anniversary happens every year.
But it does also say World of Color. That's kind of a big deal. World of Color was the Disney's first complete show that uses water. I mean, it might not seem much to you guys, but in 2010, when I first went to see World of Color, this was a big deal. I was a cast member at the time, and this was a really big deal for everyone because the best thing in terms of water shows that you could see was the one in front of the Bellagio Hotel, and that was nothing compared to what World of Color could do. And it was this huge exciting thing because before World of Color, all we had were like fireworks shows and Fantasmic. But I mean, World of Color was supposed to be something entirely new, and that's a big deal. It changed things. Thanks to World of Color, now there's that other show that happens at Animal Kingdom. And now there's that show that happens in front of Enchanted Storybook Castle in Shanghai. And now there's going to be a show happening in front of the Hong Kong Castle. So it's really, World of Color has changed things for Disney. How you could just not include it in your list will require me to kill you. So
I'm fine with that.
And then
100% fine.
2011 found the opening of The Little Mermaid, a much anticipated ride, because ever since I was a little kid, all we ever talked about was, why is there no Little Mermaid ride? And they finally opened one in 2011. And then, of course, Star Tours reopened with Star Tours The Adventures Continue. That was a big, big deal for Star Wars fans because this was the year before the Lucas purchasing. So everybody thought this is the best we're going to do. Star Tours is the best we're going to do in terms of new Star Wars content. So the rebuilding of that. 2012, we talked about that dedication of DCA, Cars and all that. 2014 brought a brand new Big Thunder Mountain. So we got brand new retracking, brand new trains, brand new revamped scenes, including the finale that everybody loves now with the exploding dynamite. 2015 brought the 60th anniversary of the park, which was also a major deal, but I guess Matt doesn't think so. And then also in 2015 was the announcement of Galaxy's Edge. So that was when we all learned that Disney was officially going to be building a Star Wars themed IP land. Then 2017 brought the river and the railroad reopening to Disneyland.
Oh, before we go into 2017, I do have... Oh, God.
Oh, my God. Matt, are you okay?
Oh, God. I choked on my chocolate. Okay.
My God.
Okay, excuse me. Before we move on to 2017, Shanghai Disneyland opened in 2016. I believe that is also worth noting for 2016. The second...
I forgot that one.
The second theme park to be built in China, right? Hong Kong's in China, and so is Shanghai.
Well, it will be soon. Hong Kong was independent. When they opened Hong Kong Disneyland, it was independent.
Oh, okay. Well, I had no history lesson. I honestly had no idea.
That's kind of why there's a bunch of riots right now, because Hong Kong is due to be handed back over to China, and they don't be handed over to China. So history lesson for you.
Okay, well that makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Alex, sincerely for that. Okay, now 2017, Alex was talking about the reopening of the Rivers of America during Galaxy's Edge construction. The very beautiful addition, I believe. It'll look, we've said this for the past 2 years, it'll look better once all the foliage has grown in. To make it seem like a fuller forest. Multiple Starbucks in downtown Disney, says Tony. That's a good one. And let's see. After 2017, was there anything in 2018? 2018, Bugs Land closes. Here we have.
Yes.
I know if I drink a whole over. I had water in my mouth. Yeah, Bugs Land closing in 2018 to make way for Marvel Land.
And then we also talked about 2018 being Pixar Piers opening.
Oh, the disgust in my heart when you said that is immeasurable.
God, I miss the 2012 Paradise Pier, honestly. I mean, I didn't like it, but it was a lot better than Pixar Pier, in my opinion.
We give a lot of flack to Pixar Pier. Granted, it is a very cheap way to integrate all these varying forms of IP into one singular land, a very uncreative way to do it as well. I gotta hand it to them, though. I hate the concept of Pixar Pier. I think the area looks great with the new fresh paint jobs that they've done. Granted, they could have just repainted the original Paradise Pier to the same color scheme, and I'd be happy as well as the addition to all the little popcorn lights around the land at night really makes it look really beautiful. That's the only thing I like about
popcorn lights.
I'm not sure if the popcorn lights were already there. Were they already there? Okay, well then that's one less thing to give praise to Pixar Pier than for. The paint scheme is the only thing I like when it comes to Pixar Pier. And the cookie that they sell outside the Incredicoaster is really good too. The Num Num cookie, I think, is what it's called. But
Cookie Num Nums.
Cookie Num Nums, yeah. The line was too long when I wanted to get one at DCA when I was there, so sad about that. But 2019, we have the castle refurb and the opening of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in both Disneyland and in... I need to burp. and in Disney's Hollywood Studios in Florida. Excuse me.
Actually, if you think about it, there were 2 castle refurbishments in the same decade.
Oh,
if you think about it.
The Hong Kong castle, you mean?
No, I mean Sleeping Beauty Castle in Disneyland.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah, okay.
They repainted it to remove the 50th paint job. They repainted it in 2011, I want to say, and it had a more dull color to the walls and stuff. But yeah, the 2019 castle refurbishment was to update the paint job yet again, and then put new rooftops.
Mm-hmm. Also, 2018, says Tony Mac, the fall of Rainforest Cafe, and what a tragic fall it was as well. I miss it. I truly do. Yeah, and also worth noting, Disney Plus launching here at the end of 2019. I feel like that is the biggest deal out of all these things that we've mentioned. Disney Plus launching, I guess aside from Disney buying Lucasfilm in 2012, I feel like that's pretty up there. But in terms of the company as a whole, I feel like Disney Plus is really what I think Bob Iger even said it was going to be like his legacy or something once he leaves next in 2021, I think is when he leaves. Yeah.
You know what's weird is ever since I stopped watching The Mandalorian like weeks ago, I haven't even turned on Disney Plus since then. I haven't watched anything. Partly because I've been too busy, but the other thing too is everything that they have that I want to, I either already own on Blu-ray and have seen it recently, or have seen it recently somewhere else, like Netflix. So I'm kind of like, wow, there's not really anything for me to watch besides National Geographic. And even then I haven't had the time to put anything on.
Have you been watching the Jeff Goldblum series, The World According to Jeff Goldblum?
My dad put that on Thanksgiving, and it had some funny parts. Like, I really like Jeff Goldblum, but I thought the show was just kind of a little too zany and silly for my taste. Yeah.
I can see that. That's one of the shows my dad and I really enjoy watching besides The Mandalorian and The Imagineering Story, which has since ended. Yeah, I haven't really been watching any of the other originals either. The High School Musical show doesn't really interest me. There's that Encore musical show, I think, with the blonde girl from Frozen, I think. Anyways, we also did forget to put on Disney buying Fox at the end of 2019 as well, or at the beginning of 2019. Whenever that happened.
They bought them at the beginning?
Was it? I'm going to be honest, I cannot remember.
2018. Yeah, I thought they bought them in 2018.
Guys, I honestly can't remember if it was last year, 2018 or 2019. I think it was the middle of 2019 is when it happened. I think it was summer of 2019. I'm just pulling stuff out of my booty right now. I can't remember. So someone in chat can jog my memory. But I guess we can... Yeah, I guess... What would you say was the most significant thing out of all the things we've listed? The most significant... I guess milestone that happened to the Walt Disney Company this decade.
In this decade
of all time.
Most significant milestone. How should we answer this? Should we answer it most significant to us or most significant to the company?
To the company. Most significant to the company, the company's future financial growth. Yeah.
Well, then I would say easily it has to be the opening of Shanghai Disneyland.
Oh, okay. Why would you say that? I did not expect that.
Well, because one of the biggest markets for Disney consumption of entertainment, both movie-wise and theme park-wise, is China. Like, people don't think about it this way, but China makes more money off of American entertainment, or makes us the most money from American entertainment than even America does.
Hmm.
You know, if you like Google literally any movie, and look at how much it made domestically versus China, it makes 3 times as much in China as it does domestically, almost completely even across the board, any movie. So they just have a lot more people than we do, and they have a consumption of entertainment than we do. And so it's like opening a theme park in China, and again, Hong Kong is not part of China during this decade. It was completely its own thing. But yeah, so it was like a big deal to open a Disney park in China because they really wanted a Disney park, and Disney knew that they could make a ton of money off of it. And so yeah, it's represented a significant investment, and it's paying them back. I mean, it's slowly paying them back.
Was it
but
the
it's paying
first
them back.
the first castle park Bob Iger headed in his tenure?
That Bob Iger headed?
Like built in his since he's been the CEO.
You know, the funny thing is, technically yes, because it's the only castle park that he's ever like designed and seen through to completion. But technically, he was there to open Hong Kong Disneyland in 2005.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
However, that was a Michael Eisner project. So it's kind of like Michael Eisner started it and Bob Iger finished it and opened it. So yeah, so technically he's seen the opening of 2 castle parks across the world under his leadership.
But Bob Iger saw 3, didn't he? Tokyo, Hong Kong.
You mean Eisner?
And Paris. Eisner, yeah, Eisner.
Yeah, Eisner saw. Wait, Tokyo opened in. Tokyo opened in 83, didn't it? Eisner didn't start until 84.
Tokyo Disneyland.
Ron Miller oversaw the opening of Tokyo
83.
Disneyland.
Okay. Well, I guess they're tied.
What?
Yeah, it was 83,
Yeah.
1983.
And then when did Michael Eisner start?
When did
I'm pretty sure it was
Michael
84.
When did Michael Jackson die? 2009. Eisner becomes CEO. That's not what I wanted. 1984. So yeah, I guess you're right.
Yes.
A year after. Guys, Alex
Yeah.
knows his stuff, you guys. That's why they call him Alex the Historian. So yeah.
I'm just thinking about this guy that commented on my video yesterday. Just like, ugh.
SMH.
Long story. It was definitely a shaking my head moment. But anyway. So Michael Eisner technically oversaw 2 castle parks. That would be Disneyland Paris and
Hong Kong.
But I mean, he never got to see it open under his leadership. He left before it opened, but he did spearhead the project. So gosh, it's kind of weird, huh? CEO's almost...
Wait. Hong Kong Disneyland opened September 12th, 2005. Michael Eisner retires September 30th, 2005. So a mere 18
Bob
days.
Iger, but I think there was an overlap because Bob Iger had to kind of take the reins before Michael Eisner officially left the company. So it's kind of like both their project, really. I mean, they both opened it technically.
It doesn't say when Bob Iger became CEO. We'll just believe Alex. I believe him.
Well, because here's why. I remember when it opened. I remember watching it on TV, and Bob Iger was the one that opened it. Michael Eisner was not there.
I think I remember seeing that on the Imagineering story as well. Guys, Alex is right about everything. We'll take his word for it. What else? Oh, yeah, so you said that Shanghai Disney was the most significant thing to happen to the Walt Disney Company in the past decade. Alex explained it. And now I guess it's my turn to say. I was gonna say Disney Plus, launching in 2019 at the end of this year. I feel like
that is pretty significant.
Yeah. Beat it to it, Alex. I feel like Disney entering the streaming game, the streaming wars, as many call it, with a $6.99 price point, $6 entry point to the streaming service, with mostly the entire catalog of the original animated films, the Marvel films, every single Star Wars film. I think they have like the Lego Star Wars shorts as well as the Clone Wars.
And the original films that they do have were not edited, which is a big deal.
Yeah.
We all were afraid that they would all be edited.
Censored out the... The... What would you call the censored out the racist parts, I guess? The insensitive parts.
The insensitive parts. That's what people would say, the racist parts. There's a huge story behind why those... that, but racism is not part of it.
Yes, insensitive would be a better word.
We should do a podcast explaining Walt Disney and why people think his stuff is racist.
Well, you guys,
they think he's racist. That's a whole other topic.
Historyland coming soon, you guys. We're going to touch on that. No, sure.
It's coming on Alex the Historian channel. I'm planning on doing that.
Oh my god!
Sometime next year.
Oh my god, we're also.
But I thought that it'd be fun to do a podcast. Why don't we both do a video on it?
Like a collab?
Like a collab.
I'll have to talk to Jeremy, my manager, and see if he approves. Yeah, Jeremy's actually in Disneyland right now. He was just interviewed by, I think it was Oprah at Galaxy's Edge, because he's a big deal, Jeremy is. Interviewed by Oprah. You might have seen his picture floating around People Magazine. The cover of People Magazine Jeremy was on, posing in front of
Time Magazine.
People Time Magazine, yeah. Anyways, I don't know what we're doing. Yeah, I feel like Disney Plus for me would be the most significant thing to happen to the Walt Disney Company. And now...
Wait. Now yes. I want to know, what's the most significant thing to you that happened in the Walt Disney Company this decade?
To me, does it have to be off of the list that we listed, or can it be anything that happened?
Anything this past decade that happened that happened to the Disney Company this past decade.
That happened to the Disney Company this past decade.
Not to you, but it's something that affects you that was significant.
Something that affects me. Gosh, that's a tough one.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'd rather have you go first. I need some time to think about this.
To me, the most significant thing that affects me that happened this decade from the Disney Company is probably the rededication of DCA with the opening of Cars Land at Buena Vista Street. I felt like before then DCA was just this like unwanted park, and I didn't want to be there. I still don't want to be there, but I'm more open to actually walking in the park nowadays than I was back then, thanks to Buena Vista Street and Cars Land. Honestly, walking down Buena Vista Street as my first experience in the park each time makes me more open to having fun at the park, because back then it was like walking through the postcard was just so awful that I knew I was going to have a bad day. Mm-hmm. But walking through Buena Vista Street gives me hope that I'm probably going to have a better day. So that to me was the most significant event of this past decade that I personally liked. And the most significant event that I did not so much like, not hate, but just didn't so much like, was the opening of Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland.
Okay.
I like Galaxy's Edge, but I felt that it didn't belong in Disneyland Park. So, and I still believe that. So that to me was the other the other thing. What about you, Matt?
The most significant thing... I guess I'm going to go ahead and have to say... I don't know. This is really tough. Okay. I'm going to say this right off the top of my head. The most significant thing that I can remember happening this past decade that affected me was... Man, I don't know. This is a tough question. Okay, I'm going to say the opening of Galaxy's Edge is the most significant thing to happen to me. I'm not really a fan of... I guess I'm a Star Wars fan. Not really so much of the prequels or the new movies, but I just feel like if you look at Galaxy's Edge, for someone like me, in like the context of no Star Wars, I mean, like besides the Millennium Falcon and the Stormtroopers walking around and Kylo Ren and Rey and all that stuff, I feel like Galaxy's Edge is a nice addition to the park, and I really enjoyed. Not to say that I feel like it belongs in Disneyland, like Alex said, because I don't think it belongs in Disneyland, but I did thoroughly enjoy Galaxy's Edge. I didn't get to meet any of the characters that were roaming around, but when I was able to like hover around, like following Kylo Ren and the Stormtroopers around and seeing them interact with everyone else, and I guess seeing the smiles on all the Star Wars nerds' faces when they could interact with, that sounds weird to say, when they could interact with like Kylo Ren and the reaction that they get, that's a lot of fun to me. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Galaxy's Edge opening was the most significant thing. Again, this is off the top of my head. We didn't prepare any statements for this because it was just sort of Alex just brought it upon us right now. But I'm sure if I had time to think about it, I could think of something else. I guess another one worth noting. I remember very vividly summer of 2017. Was it 2017 when the river reopened for... It was. Yes. Summer of 2017, I remember I was in Disneyland with my family. My cousins came from out of town to go to Disneyland with us. I remember I was scouring Twitter to see if they were going to do any soft openings for the new Fantasmic show. And if you guys listen to the podcast, you'll know Fantasmic is my favorite Disneyland show that they've done in the parks. I love Fantasmic to death. I remember scouring Twitter to see if they were this was also the day of D23, I believe. One of the days of D23 as well. And I was watching Twitter to see if they were going to do any soft openings, and I saw that they were going to do a soft opening for the new Fantasmic 2.0. And I convinced my family, even though there were no announcements anywhere about Fantasmic being soft previewed that day, I convinced my family to wait out the Rivers of America, and we were the first people, along with everybody else there, to watch the new Fantasmic 2.0, and I was really proud of that, because I love Fantasmic, even though the new version isn't as great as the original. I love Fantasmic, and I can say that my family and I were some of the first to see the new Fantasmic at the park, so that was pretty cool. That's the end.
That's cool.
And now, to close off this segment, let's talk about what we can expect from Disney 2020 and beyond. Maybe I guess we can say the next decade, up to 2030. We'll say for the next couple of years, maybe not as far as 2030. I'm going to go ahead and list off the ones we already know that are going to happen. Tomorrowland refurb, happening eventually in Disneyland. Fantasyland expansion. Those are two of the main things I think any of us or all of us are excited for when it comes to the future of Disneyland in the next decade. Alex, what are you expecting or looking forward to from Disney? I guess not necessarily the parks. Both. Disney, movies, whatever. 2020 and beyond.
Is it something that is already kind of known about, or should I say something that I kind of hope?
Something you can kind of hope will happen.
So I hope that Disney movies will return to original ideas, and that they'll stop producing live action versions of already successful animated Disney movies. I hope that becomes true again, because we need that originality. I'm tired of us copycatting stuff that's already been successful that doesn't need to be touched. And then I'd say, in terms of something I already kind of know about that I'm expecting and anticipating, and that's all. No, but no, but I'm really, really anticipating the new Tomorrowland. I mean, I know Matt already mentioned it, but I can't even tell you how much Tomorrowland means to me, because I am old enough to still have the final memories of a once good Tomorrowland. Granted, it was neglected back then because of the Pressler era, but it was still the final remnants of a once good, bustling Tomorrowland.
Of Walt's Tomorrowland.
Of Walt's Tomorrowland, that's true. 67 Tomorrowland was still around in my memory back then, or from what I remember back then. And I'd love to see that again, before, the climate kills us all, or, we get nuked or something. But yeah, I would really love to see that again. And that is the biggest thing that I'm anticipating, honestly. I don't even care about an expansion to Fantasyland. I mean, okay, I do, but not as much as the Tomorrowland refurbishment. I just, oh, man, every day, if I'm reminded of it, I just think of all these ideas and things that they could do, and it just gets me so excited. And so please, Disney, please just give it to us finally. We need this. All right.
I have hope, for Tomorrowland. I have hope that maybe it won't be filled with IPs, maybe some thrown in there. But yeah, like Alex said, Tomorrowland refurb is number 1 on my list. Yeah, that's really it. I really don't... I agree with Alex about the original movies, although I don't think the live-action remakes are going to be stopping anytime soon. Maybe the next decade is when they'll stop, but I don't think we're going to be seeing the end of that within these few years.
When did they make the first Maleficent movie?
2010. I don't know.
2014. I knew it. Okay. Here's the weird thing. Things in every decade, they change about every 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And not at the start of the decade. Always in the middle of the decade. So it could be fashion, it could be movies, it could be new styles or trends of things. They always begin in the middle of the decade and end in the middle of the next decade. And the whole live action remake thing, the mania, not just normal, Disney's been doing live action remakes forever, but the live action remake mania began with the Maleficent movie. And that was in 2014. I estimate that by 2025, they're going to stop with that because people's tastes will change yet again. And after 2025, we're going to see something else. Maybe not necessarily what we hope or what I hope.
They're going to be making remakes of the remakes.
Change. Architecture changes in the middle of every decade. Everything changes in the middle of every. Think about when people stopped officially wearing 70s clothing styles. It was 1984 that people stopped wearing 70s clothing. Think about when people stopped wearing 80s looking clothing.
Some people never stopped.
1995. Some people never stopped, unfortunately, yes. But I mean, you think about the high-waisted jeans from the 1980s. People didn't stop wearing those till like 1995, 1996. So it's kind of funny. The middle of every decade is a major shift into the new decade. So I am holding out hope that that these remakes will stop it by 2025.
We'll see. We'll see. Insert the gif of Hawkeye saying, "Don't give me hope," from Avengers Endgame. But yeah, I guess now we can transition into what do you guys expect to see from Disney in the coming decade? I'm sure everyone's anticipating, like we said, the Tomorrowland refurb, the Fantasyland expansion. This isn't just tied to the parks, you guys. It can be related to the movies. It can be related to
the cruise line.
The cruise line, yeah. Maybe Disney will...
The merchandise.
Yeah, maybe Disney will start selling cruise ships in the Disney parks for people to buy. Wouldn't that be something? Merchandising the cruise ships. I don't know. Yeah. Well, anyways, what do you guys expect from Disney in 2020 and beyond? Mad About Disney says he's arrived. I'm sorry to say we're ending the show right as you joined. Someone said, I hope Disney has a better plan for the crowds over the next 2 years in Disneyland, I believe is what he's referring to. We'll see. Don't know if there's really much they can do in regards to that.
Honestly, Tony, I foresee them.
Yeah, price increase would be the only way.
A price increase will help prevent even more people from flooding the park. But I think what Disney wants to do is take the maximum capacity and find a way to make the park look like it hasn't reached maximum capacity, even though it has. And one of those ways that they do that is taking people out of the queues and onto the walkways, and then taking them off of the walkways and into areas that make them. Okay, I know that's confusing, but think about it this way. You remember when they got rid of the stroller parking in the middle of Adventureland and they put it into that area that used to be the shop? That's kind of what they plan on doing for people. They're not getting rid of people. They're going to be finding ways to hide them in plain sight so you don't feel like the park is as crowded as it really is. And one of those ways is, remember I was talking about the last episode of Matterhorn Mondays about using fast passes as a reservation system for getting on rides. I think that's the future. And I think that we're going to see the idea of standing around in a queue start to be phased out. Not in the middle of, but start to be phased out.
Yeah, we'll touch. Oh, God, I just can't. I keep choking on stuff. That was horrible sounding too. Gosh, sorry about that. We'll be talking about that in future episodes, I'm sure. Like I said, at the beginning of the episode, but. We'll close it out listening to Avery's final voicemail of the decade, you guys. It's going to be a whole year since we get to hear from Avery again. That's what she said. I don't remember. I think that was referring to something I said earlier about me choking. I can't stop choking on stuff. That's what she said, I think. Anyways, let's take a listen here to Avery's voicemail, and then we'll close off the episode.
I think it's been a great decade for the company. Like, sure, people say, like, yeah, Disney shouldn't be a monopoly, but their purchase of Fox and their other purchases throughout the decade made them stronger, made them better. People say, like, oh, Disney ruins this, Disney ruins that. I mean, you say that, yet they still have money, so I don't know what to tell you. So, I know there's things that we said, like, people said goodbye to in the parks. But we also said hello to a lot of things. We said hello to, like, new parks, Shanghai Disneyland, for example. That happened. So yeah, in terms of that, so a lot of good things happened. Bad things for the fans happened, but overall, I think it was a successful year for the company, definitely.
Okay, at the end, it transcribed it as saying Stan Lee's dead. So thanks, Google, for reminding me of that. But anyways, what do you guys look forward to in the coming decade from Disney? Let us know in the comments down below. Also, let us know what you hope to come from all these refurbishments happening in the coming year of 2020. And we'd also like to know if you guys are excited to visit Avengers Campus next summer of 2020. So it's going to be a whole year since we get to talk to you guys again. We hope you savor this episode because a year is a long time, you guys. A whole year is when we're going to be able to do another podcast. I feel like some people won't get that joke.
Yeah, some people will take that literally. Like, we'll be back December 29th, 2020.
Which is not the case, you guys. I was making a joke. Because it's going to be 2020 next time we do another podcast, but it's 2019 now. So technically, it's been a year since the last one. But anyways, thank you all for coming to today's episode of Matterhorn Mondays. We hope you all enjoyed. We hope you all have a very happy new year. And as always, Alex's channel, what's so funny?
What?
You giggled at something. Was it something? Did I say something funny?
Yeah, Justin Boyer said in the comments, "We get it. We're just ignoring."
Oh my gosh. Dad jokes. Anyways, yeah. As always, Alex's channel will be down in the description below. Be sure to subscribe to Alex the Historian. My channel here is here as well, you guys, if you want to sub to the channel in addition to Alex's channel. But we'll leave it at that. I got a football game to watch, you guys, and I have not eaten dinner yet, so let's go ahead and do that all collectively together. Thank you all for coming to today's episode of Matterhorn Mondays, and as always, have a great big beautiful tomorrow.